Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome back to Soulfire Tarot. My name is Steve. This is for the month of April 2025. Alright, let's get into it. To begin, I will be drawing from the Psychic Tarot card deck. We'll do two pillars, left and right, for general overall themes to help structure things. Then we'll be going into more fine granularity with Standard Tarot. And later, I'll be gleaming some more psychic insights by gazing with the obsidian orb. Alrighty. To begin, pull from the top here. We have light, Sagittarius. Time of light, the theme of light. Putting that in the left-hand side. Coming up for the right-hand side, we have the theme of material and spiritual prosperity. Sagittarius. Wow, it sounds like a auspicious time for you. All right, let's get in it. First on the left, we have the Eight of Wands. This is somebody overcoming their obstacles who is in stride, capable, and working towards the completion of mounting something. This is somebody who's in pursuit, who has what it takes, and is almost there. By the way, bear with me. I'm going through a cold, so pardon me if I cough or, I don't know, make some other weird noises. All right. Next, we have the Five of Swords. Yeah, overcoming something, overcoming some kind of battle, some kind of reckoning here. You know, this is an image of somebody who just like slain another person, you know, in the midst of this like battle, this fight of some sort. You know, this could be somebody, you conquering and overcoming something. And again, this is standing underneath the signifying card of light. So interesting. Let's keep reading here, and the fuller picture will come throughout the reading. Interesting. Had this in the last reading for Scorpio. Here, the third card, we have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. So I kind of have been seeing this card as kind of a card of, you know, maybe feeling out of place with how you can apply yourself with gifts and skills that you have. So it might be suggesting to kind of work to find your place, to know the environment and how you can make use of it, how you can kind of survive in a field of sorts. So that's interesting. Yeah, and I feel like seeing the progression so far from the Eight of Wands to the Five of Swords to the Six of Pentacles reversed. Yeah, there's something here about like overcoming something and being victorious, you know, conquering some kind of challenge, you know, and maybe during this month you'll be at a place where you're kind of like figuring out where that fits in or how things are going to kind of fit out. All right, in the middle here, we have the Two of Cups in reverse. So I'm seeing this as a card is, you know, perhaps there's, you know, transformation emotionally going on in relationship, in partnership of how you relate and exchange emotionally with people, how you affect others vis-a-vis emotional intelligence or otherwise. I'm seeing this in the middle, so that's kind of like a fulcrum position here, which is important along with the two pillars here. All right, next we have the Eight of Pentacles. So on the side of material and spiritual prosperity, we have the Eight of Pentacles, crossing a threshold, facing our fears, you know, to overcome and to get where we need to go or where we desire to go or where we're being called to. You know, if we were in this labyrinth, this Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, you know, like we're going to face some obstacles, some scary stuff in that kind of world, right? As a metaphor, you know, but how do we deal with that? You know, do we get a stick and like lift the snake away? You know, do we throw some salt on it? Do we sit down and vibe out and play a flute and just be like, yeah, snake, I get you. For real, no cap. So, yeah, seeing a threshold here, there might be some kind of boundary for you that is potent and powerful in this month of April for you in terms of what you're overcoming and finding your place in the world and how that relates and connects with other people here. And I feel like the spirit of light especially with the Five of Swords. This card also can be cautioning us to be careful with our mind, careful with our words, careful with how we, wield, our rhetoric, our thinking, stuff like that. Like, is it causing harm? Are we creating unnecessary suffering and backlash, perhaps, Sagittarius? All right. After the Eight of Pentacles, we now have the Five of Cups. It's a card of passing on, of grieving, of loss and despair. Although those are traditional kind of core associations, everything in context here. So seeing out of the Eight of Pentacles, perhaps something to do with this fear, this threshold of sorts, relating to material and spiritual prosperity, has to do with letting go of something. Perhaps there's the way to get past, and the snake has to do with properly letting go and grieving and surrendering something, realizing that, things, whatever might have been in life isn't there anymore. And that's life, everybody's going to die unless you become some weird, artificial upload. So, but even then your body's gone, you know what I'm saying? But it's a new body. Whoa. Thanks, ChatGPT. Anyways, but yeah, grief is a beautiful thing. I've talked about it in other videos and other signs about how grief is, I don't think, a lot of people in the West, according to people from the South, from like Guatemala, the shaman who was like a medicine man, who was like a medium between the natural world, the human world, and the spiritual world. He had to leave his own place in Guatemala as a tribal indigenous person and, act as a refugee up in the United States. And once he was back to the United States where he originally grew up, he, this was like in the 70s and 80s, he could see clearly like, oh shit, like, yeah, a lot of these European colonizer descended people, like they've just all the wars and just like the holy wars and religious oppression and shit and suppression dynamics. There was a lot of grief that was never grieved properly because the men in particular didn't know how to let go and just express their emotions and cry, and feel their feelings and all these, feminine, world transformation things of integrating, a complete whole self. And yeah, in a very poetic way. His name is Martin Pretschel. I highly recommend his books. Secrets of the Talking Jaguar just changed my life. It's so beautiful and incredible. But he talks about how grief is like water for the things that we lost, whether it's a person or a place or a thing, something that we've lost that we loved. It's the water when we grieve and really just get all messy and let go and just really feel it through. Like, I miss the damn thing. It's like water to help carry them back to source. And without grieving properly, energy, excuse me, energy can get stuck inside of us. And he's like, yeah, I see that as like cancer. It's like the frozen tears that never got processed. And you have like 5 generations of these people on the paternal lineage who like never did that. It was gruesome. We live in an age where things are like pretty civil and tame overall in like the civilized Western world, even in the East now. I mean, there's still, there's so many people that's, horrendous, inhumane, disgusting stuff still happens. But by and large, we've ascended as a civilization to where the quality of life overall is much better than it used to be. It used to be grit and bone. I mean, there were some paradisical elements, sure, that we can idealize, but, like the knit and grit of, surviving and being in a tribal reality or even a feudal reality was a lot more gruesome, let's say. So thank you, enlightenment. Anyways, that was quite a D-tribe. All right, so we have 6 cards. This will be the last in the first line of the spread. We have the Emperor reversed underneath material and spiritual prosperity, coming after the 5 of Cups, card of loss and kind of surrender and grief. So I'm seeing the Emperor in reversed here underneath material and spiritual prosperity, touching on something maybe out of order, and perhaps this grief connecting with this fear whenever this emotional imbalance might be of not quite understanding our place or how things fit in life. Perhaps some of us have been trying to kind of force things to fit and to kind of gel with our idea of reality or our circumstances or something. But the emperor has to do with rules and domain. This is somebody who is a ruler, for better or worse. Ideally, the emperor is a beneficent emperor who rules, with wisdom and knowledge and truth and service of love, ultimately, right? And the sacred. But seeing that in reverse, I feel like this is suggesting that perhaps through the negative, this is highlighting in your reading, and I'm sure I'll get more insights once I go to the obsidian orb. In fact, let me do that right now. Why wait for it? What is this about? Yeah, there's kind of like a trial. Like I'm seeing like the battles and like this kind of like, I feel like some of you have been like fighting for something for some time, that you've really put your heart out on the line for. And some of you are feeling squashed. Like your place in the world is being questioned. And your sense of prosperity and your well-being is coming into question. But again, on the left-hand side here, the feminine side, we see the card, the spirit of light. Levity in overcoming obstacles. Levity in the way we think and how we conduct our words. Levity in understanding our place and how we fit into the world. Levity in how we relate emotionally with ourselves and each other. Levity when it comes to questioning our fears and seeing what our true limitations are. Perhaps it's a belief. Perhaps it's an idea. Perhaps it's a sense of who we are and what we can or can't do. Levity when it comes to holding on to emotions and things that have passed and aren't with us anymore. And levity when it comes to the rulership of domain and space and time. This could be also indicating us and suggesting to get your domain in order. Perhaps there has been an imbalance, and in order to capitalize on the opportunity in this month of material wealth and prosperity with the spirit of light that fosters growth from the darkness and above, recreating the material, plants, animals eating the plants, bacteria, anyways, you get what I'm saying. Ecological cosmos. With the emperor, though, with material prosperity, getting things in order, getting things in their right place, it all starts at home, right? In some senses, the home is kind of where the heart is, that, kind of cliche adage. But in a sense, like a home is kind of where we center and base everything out of, like I've got some dishes I haven't washed for a while. I know once I do those dishes, I'm going to be like, oh, all right, yeah, I'm feeling more clear. My energy can flow better. I can put my energy on other things, and it can stop, kind of weighing me down in my mind, emotionally, spatially back here, So, yeah, it's kind of a question of what might be kind of out of order in the small sense, but then, like I said initially, also the bigger sense. All right, let's do another layer beneath these 7 cards. All right, so I'll start from the right and go underneath the Emperor reversed, underneath the material and spiritual prosperity card. We have the 4 of Swords. So yeah, I think the Emperor, when it comes to domain, finding a balance and harmony to facilitate prosperity, for this month, it is suggesting, to take rest, to take refuge, to get the kind of renewal in, the time, the self-care, to get yourself right so you can be in a more ample position to kind of manage your world and the world at large. All right, underneath the 5 of Cups, we have the Devil. Yeah, so this has to do with bondage. This has to do with bondage and material attachment. We see the Lovers here, chained and shackled underneath this androgynous devil figure who has a horn and he's holding a flame and it's in the dark cave and he's got the pentagram head, right? The devil represents like bondage, like animal nature. It can also represent Capricorn, which is about stricture, limitations, discipline, how we build a structure so we can maintain things. But in order to create structure, it means that there must be some kind of sacrifice. Like even if you're out in the woods and you got to make a structure, you're going to take some rocks, you're going to take some mud, you're going to take some wood, you're going to get an animal and get its skin, right? Like everything comes with a cost. So, but seeing this underneath the 5 of Cups here, the Devil with the 5 of Cups. Yeah, so I feel like there's some kind of emotional loss, something perhaps for you, Sagittarius. I'm not saying that you are going to lose something. I feel like this is speaking to something in the past that might be coming up. And I feel like for you, this might have to do with, I don't know, Mercury. Like there's some Mercury transit. I think Mercury is going retrograde again. So it might bring into focus certain things about attachments and limitations and bonds that we have that connect to a sense of loss or grief. And once again, I'm always going to encourage like getting in touch with your emotions, and if there's any grief there, like it's worthwhile, in my opinion. Anywho, continuing underneath the Eight of Pentacles, we have the Two of Wands. This card has been coming up every reading tonight, 3 of 3. So yeah, this is taking a stand. This is having the courage, to face confrontation, and the wherewithal to do it. This is, seeing that you are capable and that you're being called or somebody is being called, to take a stand on this mountaintop, to face what is off in the distance, what is coming, from above in the sky, having to do with the mind. And we see the cross of the wands, this combination of forces and combining things. So underneath the Eight of Pentacles, with regards to this idea of the fears, thresholds, and inner kind of limitations, something that might be holding us back, that we're hesitant about. I'm seeing this now as a clarifying card. This is encouraging you to kind of take a stand. This is a courageous card that I see as a Sagittarian card and or an Arian card. So yeah, encouragement for you. All right, underneath the Two of Cups, we have the Prince of Wands. So this is somebody who is reignited with their passion. This is somebody who is capable, who wants to, move on things, who can go places in the world, who kind of has this burning passion and desire, this willpower to kind of blaze forward with courage. So what I'm seeing underneath this emotional perhaps imbalance or a lack of kind of reciprocity in the emotional domain, like, for example, in the context of relationships, this I feel like is saying something about how you can kind of reignite a potential connection, if you put in the effort, if you really bring your heart on the line and have the courage and the bravery to actually speak up, and to take an action to kind of like get the fire, spread the fire again, whatever that might mean for you. Fire in the bedroom, just light that match. Anyways, cool. Or hot, should I say. Yeah, I think that's a hot card. Anyways, underneath the Six of Pentacles, we have the Strength card in reverse. Yeah, so I feel like what this is saying with regards to this kind of like finding your place and knowing the environment and how you can work with it and what you're coming into, some kind of foreign environment of some sorts, perhaps. This is with the Strength reverse. I feel like it might feel like it could feel like you're not exactly in a strength position. It might be something new, something unfamiliar, perhaps. Or it could be saying, that there's a sense of weakness, perhaps. But again, the kind of inverse of this with this context is, suggesting the Strength upright card, which is underneath the light, which is about, having the discipline and the wherewithal to transform and wield these lower animal nature aspects of ourselves, like these impulsive urges, this dangerousness, like an untamed lion that can be dangerous, that has this like beast strength. This is symbolic representation of, taming that. So you can tame that beast and have it at your side as an ally that is at your command and isn't out of control anymore. So this could be talking about your emotions. This could be talking about habits. This could be talking about getting things into order. And again, over here underneath material, spiritual, and prosperity, we had the Emperor in reverse, kind of suggesting like get things in order. And the Four of Swords, finding some downtime to relax, get your R&R, self-care in, and rejuvenate, find that time to kind of heal up. Alrighty, underneath the Five of Swords, we have the Four of Wands reversed. So I see this as somebody kind of like toiling and kind of like, there's this cauldron or this burning altar and this, kind of stocky woman sitting outside of this temple, and she's just like, yes. Kind of like seeing what is possible, like, yes, these elements are coming together. Yeah, so, Yeah, the concoction, the alchemical ritual is working. But I'm seeing that in reverse. So underneath the Five of Swords, which is that kind of like sharp, dangerous, kind of perhaps vitriolic, conqueredness in terms of like argumentation or ideas or butting heads and like battling with people. Seeing this with the Four of Wands in reverse, I feel like this is kind of, again, kind of like checking things in the question about like, what are you kind of like concocting? Like, how are your actions and thoughts? Like, what are those leading towards in terms of results here? Alrighty. Next, underneath the first card, the Eight of Wands, that card of pursuit, ascension, and getting through it, we have the One of Cups in reverse. So yeah, I feel like this is saying, and again, this connects with the juxtaposition card, the Two of Cups in reverse, that balance of emotions and partnership and reciprocity. So the One of Cup in reverse, I feel like for some of you, it might be like you're trying to compensate or catch up, with some kind of relationship or partnership, but it just might not be a new start. It might be time to kind of like let that go. I feel like in other ways, this could also be saying something about like, again, kind of questioning the elements of how emotionally, what you put in and how it initiates things, how it gets things going emotionally with what you feel and how it connects to people's dreams. I might just bring that into focus. And so, yeah, I feel like for you, Sagittarius, so far, I'm kind of seeing this theme of kind of like revision and kind of processing as a kind of energetic theme in the month of April here. All right, next I'm going to draw another Psychic Tarot card in the center. Yeah, we have the Solitude card in the center. Yeah, so I feel like solitude is golden for you. In this month, there's a woman beneath a castle or a single pillar, at the dawn, reading this book with this open book, solitude. Of kind of crystallizing, gathering, processing things from within, getting clear about yourself and others. I know for myself, whenever I like go take like a day trip or even like a weekend afternoon, I go out to somewhere in nature and I just like get into solitude and just like sit there by a tree or next to the water on some rocks and just kind of like reflect, get that solitude. I get a lot of clarity about stuff, and it's like, I feel like I'm the type of person where it's like, I need that to get clear. I need that to get like radiance where it's like, yeah, like I can see the light's flowing through me again. But I know everybody's different, but yeah, it's coming up. So solitude is encouraged here. I believe in this month, it would be good for you. Again, kind of tying with that rest, with processing of emotions, perhaps loss, fears, thresholds, boundaries, possible obstacles, bondage. What do we really feel called to stand up for? How do we show up emotionally and bring fire into life to ignite, with passion and share that with each other bravely, with courage, leading forward. And, I feel like solitude is necessary to come to the Strength Upright card, the power card here, of overcoming that beast in the upright position. So yeah, next I'll draw a Wild Mystic Oracle card. This is kind of an animal spirit here. This will be a guiding card for Sagittarius. Yeah, and we have the Fear card. Interestingly, a shark. Very instinctual. Cannot see that far, but its sense of smell, its chemical smell, is exceptional. It can smell blood from like miles away. Isn't that incredible? Like, how does that work? Like, the particle of blood isn't, well, I guess it dissipates, right? And it'll spread out in the ocean. And then it's just like this big wave, right? That spreads out in the water, diffuses. And the shark can kind of just like narrow it in and like, oh, it's more concentrated over here. I'm going to go over there, right? So, yeah. So this Fear card is suggesting to like trust your instincts, to tune into your fine senses, to help guide you. If there's uncertainty and clarity, turning into these instincts when making decisions, especially split decisions, could make or break life. Not to say that something that urgent would happen, but, it's a big world. Something's always happening. And, yeah. And again, seeing The Eight of Pentacles, I oftentimes see that as a fear threshold card. You know, I'm going to set this in between solitude and the light. So I feel like solitude and light here, the light that can come from within through solitude, I think can help you connect with this instincts, these intuition that you have, and help you transcend and be able to move past the fear, as well as doing some kind of emotional processing to kind of like figure out where things fit and connect. Awesome. Well, all right, Sagittarius. Lastly, I'll gaze into the obsidian orb, and we'll see what kind of psychic insights we may glean here. Please give me insight and clear voice. Yeah, so the alchemical theme here is transfiguration. So this has to do about like reshaping things so that it can fit more orderly and soundly in life here in the month of April, which I think it's pretty clear how that resonates so far with this reading. Transfiguration. Yeah, it has to do with transduction too. So what is transduction? Transduction is like, so like let's say you have a vibrating toothbrush, right? It's bzzz, you put it up in your tooth and all of a sudden you can hear it in your ear. Why is that? It's because of vibrational transduction, right? So the vibration of the toothbrush head at a certain frequency through a certain medium is going to transduce through the medium of your tooth, and it'll change the frequency of how the vibration, the sound moves through your body and how you hear that ultimately. So that's this idea of transduction. So again, transfiguration and transduction. Transduction has to do with understanding, you know, how our vibration, how our emanation of our energy, our actions, our words, our feelings, our time, essentially how that impacts and connects with the world, connects with others, and how that comes back to us. Because there's always a feedback. There's always a feedback, you know, equal and opposite reaction. You take something over here, equal and opposite, like ripples on a wave, ripples on a pond, you know. So, yeah. Anything else? Yeah, I'm seeing something about like Spirit is saying like don't be over glorious. You know, like we all have different wins and losses, you know, but like what goes around comes around is what I'm seeing. And I know that sounds kind of negative, but it's just like what's coming through here. So yeah, it's kind of like a word of caution, and it has to do with like, yeah, there's arrogance. And this is actually something I've felt with all the fire sign readings thus far, especially with Aries. There's always been like an underlying strand, some element of like the tenuous kind of balance between like ego projection and arrogance, or like how that could be too much, like over leveraged, you know, like you get too much weight top heavy, it can like fall down, right? That's the old adage of wisdom, like, you know, pride begets a fall kind of thing, right? If people get too high and mighty and like full of themselves, you know, like the basis of support that actually like substantiated their ability to get to where they were, if they're ingracious, you know, towards like the people who help them, the things in life that help them, you know, be able to come to where they're at, like, you know, like it's the house of cards is going to fall down, you know, and then when are you going to be left? You know, just think of the idea of like a tyrant, you know, like people trying to overthrow this tyrant, you know, like in a feudal dictatorship or something. So I think you get the gist. Anyways, Sagittarius, that was a very interesting reading. Hope that may be of value for you in this time. Once again, my name is Steve. Thanks for tuning in. And if you like it, give it a upvote. If you don't like it, give it a downvote. That's only fair, right? And if you have any thoughts, feedback, or concerns, please leave a comment down there. I'd appreciate any of it. And if you want to follow me for more, please subscribe. Thanks. Once again, Soulfire Tarot. Peace.